When people talk about college golf recruiting, the conversation almost always centers on scholarships, as if that's the only way onto a roster that matters. It's not. Walking on is a real, common path onto college golf teams, and the way most people think about it, as a consolation prize for players who weren't good enough to be recruited, misses what's actually going on and why it matters for how a player should approach their own recruiting process. A player who joins a college team without an athletic scholarship attached to their spot, typically by reaching out directly to a program, trying out, or being invited by a coach who's seen something they like but doesn't have scholarship funding left to offer. This is far more common in golf than people assume, partly because golf scholarships are what's called equivalency-based at most schools, meaning a coach has a limited pool of scholarship money to split across the entire roster, not a fixed number of full scholarships to hand out one per player. That funding structure matters enormously. A coach might have enough scholarship budget for the equivalent of 4.5 full scholarships, which they can split into partial amounts across 8 or 9 players, or even more thinly across a larger roster. That means most players on a given golf roster, even strong ones, are likely receiving only a partial scholarship, and some are walking on entirely with no athletic money at all. Money gets split. A walk-on spot on a strong program can represent a real opportunity, not a fallback. Being on the roster at all means access to coaching, competition schedule, team resources, and a development environment that a player wouldn't get training independently. For a player who's good enough to make a competitive roster but arrives a bit later in the recruiting timeline than ideal, walking on can be the realistic way into exactly the kind of program they wanted, rather than settling for a lesser program purely because it offered scholarship money. It's also worth understanding that walk-on status isn't always permanent. Players who perform well once they're on a roster sometimes earn scholarship money in later years as it becomes available, as other players graduate or as a coach reallocates the budget based on results. The roster spot is often the harder thing to earn. The scholarship money can follow performance once a player is already in the program, proving themselves. Treating scholarship or nothing as the only acceptable outcome can lead players and families to turn down a strong walk-on opportunity at a program that's actually a great fit in favor of a partial scholarship somewhere that's a worse fit competitively or academically. That's often the wrong trade. The actual questions worth asking are about the program itself, the coaching, the competition level, the team environment, the academic fit, not simply whether scholarship money is attached on day one. This doesn't mean scholarship money doesn't matter. Financially, for a lot of families, it matters enormously, and that's a legitimate factor in any decision. But it shouldn't be the only lens a player uses to judge whether an opportunity is worth taking, especially when the funding structure means even scholarship offers are often partial rather than full anyway. Understanding how scholarship money actually works in college golf changes how a walk-on offer should be evaluated. It's not a backup plan. For a lot of players, it's a legitimate front door into exactly the program they were aiming for.